What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome on in. It's 1TS Daily right here at One True Sport. I'm Zack Heydorn. I am your host. Super pumped to be here. We got a ton to get to. It's going to be a fun show. Happy Friday. We made it, you guys. This is 1TS Daily for Friday, June 28th, 2024. And it's Forbidden Door weekend for AEW. And we will spend a major chunk of the show today previewing Forbidden Door. We're going to open the Forbidden Door. We're going to preview the show. We're going to talk with you. What are you looking forward to most? What are you looking forward to least? Who's going to win what match? And all the news of the last 24 hours, like we always do right here on 1TS Daily. Quick piece of business first. Make sure you're following us at 1T Sport on Twitter. That is where you can find all of the really amazing pieces of content, amazing pieces of work that we're doing at One True Sport. You can also head over to onetruesport.com and find your preferred method of becoming a member of 1TS Daily. We have 3 different membership tiers, all with different perks. Definitely something that you guys are going to want to test out. Definitely something that you guys are going to want to try out. All sorts of legend content, all sorts of shows like this one, just a vast array of stuff concerning professional wrestling. It's all there for you at onetruesport.com. While you're at it, hit subscribe while you're listening to this video right now. Subscribe to One True Sport on YouTube. All sorts of content throughout the week. We've got this show every single day, Monday through Friday, 11 Eastern, with me talking the news of the day. You don't want to miss anything. And so the best way to do that is to just subscribe, turn your notifications on. And if you can, just hit like, and that helps us. Plain and simple. That helps us. It helps us with the wild, wacky algorithm that is YouTube, and we'd certainly appreciate it. I thank you in advance for that. If you want more of me and what I do, check us out at Brass Ring Media. It is a long form analysis arm of what we do here at 1TS Daily. It's my shop. I run it with a tremendous team over there. You can find us on YouTube. Just search Brass Ring Media YouTube. A link that is in the show notes, so you can check that out right there. Subscribe, give us a shot. We've got live shows all week long, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You can also check out our written work, our Brass Ring Media written work. Brass Ring Media on Substack is there. We have show reviews, editorials, features, interviews, all sorts of cool stuff that you just don't want to miss. So it's a great companion listen to what we do here, because it kind of takes the news we talk about here and puts a magnifying glass on it over at Brass Ring Media. So definitely go give us a shot. Try us out. I certainly would appreciate it. As for today, hello, everybody. Thanks so much for joining me. If you're listening to us on YouTube and watch us on YouTube, hello. If you're on Twitter watching, hello as well. Thanks so much for being here. We have people loading up into the chat, including Liam, and I'll share his message right here. Best membership money can buy. Thank you so much, Liam. Happy Friday, my friend. Thanks so much for being here. If you are able and willing, drop us a super chat. The chat gets pretty full here, the live chat, that is. And so if you want to stand out, make sure we see your chat. Make sure that we see your question. Make sure we see your comment. Drop us a super chat. Any contribution helps One True Sport. Any contribution helps 1TS Daily grow and helps meet our goals. So I thank you in advance for any and all super chats that you guys can drop in. I certainly would appreciate it, and it means a lot. And I thank you. So let's get going with the topic of the day, and that's Forbidden Door. AEW Forbidden Door taking place this weekend from the UBS Arena in New York. It is oh man, is it a long card? It is a long show. I mean, and that is kind of par for the course for AEW these days. I mean, I think the shows are too long. I think that you want a show that's a little bit more concise. You want a show that can keep your audience's attention. You want a show that peaks at the right time for your big main event. But, clearly Tony Khan doesn't agree. Like, he wants volume. He wants to put on a show that gives fans their $50 worth. And, that's admirable. I mean, there's no question about it. That is an admirable trait of Tony Khan, and usually he delivers when it comes to AEW pay-per-views. But this is still a long card at 12 matches, as Andrew says here in the chat. 12 matches, it's a commitment. Yeah, it is. I mean, it is a commitment. It's really like a 2-day commitment, especially on a Sunday when the show's on a Sunday, because you're committing that evening, but then you also kind of have to commit part of your morning to it as well, because it's late. It's late, and if you have to get up for work, or you got to take care of kids, or whatever, you're sacrificing your well-being in the morning as well. But needless to say, it's a 12-match card, and it's top heavy, in my opinion, in a very, very major way. I mean, I think that this show, from a preview perspective, if we were going to like map out all 12 matches and go, okay, we want to spend time, a proportionate amount of time to each match and how important it is to the card, I think you're looking at 80% of the time has to be spent talking about Swerve Strickland versus Will Ospreay. That's your main event. That's for the AEW World Championship. That's a really big match for not just for the show, but for, if you think about it, for AEW as a whole. Like, that is a major match. That's two of your top stars in the company today, in their prime, colliding head on for the biggest prize that you have. I mean, the only thing that it doesn't have is that it's not at the biggest show of the year. That's really the only thing that takes this away or grades this down from being the biggest match that AEW can put on. It's just not at it's at a signature show, but it's not at the biggest show of the year. Like, if this was at Wembley Stadium, you're saying to yourself, okay, this is the biggest match AEW can put on, and this is the biggest stage for that match to take place at. And the question now is, how do they do? How do they do in building this? For such a top-heavy show that's going to rely on this match to sell the pay-per-view, how are you guys grading it? I want your letter grades in the chat. Drop it in there. If you're listening live, how do you grade this build? I've got the grade at about a B minus. A B minus. That's where I'd put this. Like, it's not quite C territory, and let me tell you why. I don't have it as in C territory because I think the strength of the build is that both Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland throughout have come across as what they are, which is big stars. I think you wanted them to feel like tip-top stars that were colliding head on. And I think in the end, they got there with it. Like, when you watch Will Ospreay, when you watch Swerve Strickland, when you watch them interact, I think you get a sense that these are the top guys in your company. And that's something that I think you can put the feather in the cap if you're Tony Khan. Like, you accomplished that goal. You accomplished that mission. And I think that was a big goal to accomplish. I think that was, a signature element of this feud is making sure that the audience understands and feels like these are your two top guys and they're colliding. So thumbs up there. You're checking that box. Where I think they missed is like really talking about the impact of this match, like the impact of what it means for AEW going forward. Because I think you can argue that whoever wins on Sunday, there's a different direction that the company is going to go. If it's Will Ospreay on Sunday, you're going one way. You're saying to yourself, okay, time to give Will Ospreay the rocket, time to give him the ball, whatever, comparison you want to make, but it's time to give him the keys to the kingdom and let him go. We're putting the company on his shoulders, and man, boom, he's going. If you don't do that, you're saying, okay, Swerve's our guy right now, and we trust him to carry the banner. We trust him to kind of pull us out of the doldrums of some poor viewership numbers and, a down pay-per-view and just, like all the different metrics that are lagging for AEW. You're kind of saying, Swerve's still our guy. We don't need to change course. And that's from a meta perspective. From a storyline perspective, they didn't really tap into that broader story either. You've got Swerve, who's this kind of guy who came into AEW at the relative bottom, and now he's at the top. And then you have Swerve, who just comes in right at the top, and you've got those two different stories colliding, and they left that on the table. They left that not explored very much, and I think that would have um, generated intrigue, and I think that would have generated interest in the match outside of, oh, this is just going to be a really good match. Um, I expected more on the go home show of AEW Dynamite. We talked about this yesterday. I think you needed to hear from Will Ospreay. I think you needed to hear from Swerve Strickland. I think you needed them face to face, both cutting that go home babyface promo on the other, and just working to pull, working to pull the audience onto their specific side. Like, I think that's what was missing. And instead, they just went with kind of like a simple, tried and true angle that I think was good. I liked the segment. I liked, Will Ospreay snatching the belt from Swerve Strickland, a la their first interaction, and Swerve dropping him on the spot, just like he said he would if Ospreay ever did that to him again. I liked like the consistency there. I like the storytelling there, but that is like a chapter in the story, not like the climax of the story. And I think you needed like a climax type angle for this heading into the go home show. My 2 cents, right? Um, so for that reason, that's where I'm landing on my B minus grade for the build here. Andrew jumping in, he's a little less lower on it than I am. Andrew says here, I think it's a C because they lack the patience to get this to Wembley. There's plenty of small tweaks they could have done with time, facial expressions, interference, one-upsmanship, etc. So, yeah, I mean, I look, they don't want this match for for Wembley. I think Andrew, that's my takeaway is that, yeah, there's a multitude of things they could have done to get this match to Wembley Stadium, but they don't want that there. They have something else planned for that show and for that event. They clearly have something else, and that's why this match isn't taking place there. I think that's why you are hot shotting this. And I don't even mind them hot shotting it. We've talked about this a couple weeks ago. Like, hey, sometimes you just got to go with the biggest match that you have, and at this time, this is that match. And so I don't fault them for going with this when they did, especially because clearly they have something else planned. We don't know what that is yet. Will it involve MJF? Maybe. It more than likely will involve the winner of the Owen Hart Cup tournament, whether that's Bryan Danielson or whether that's potentially a wild card, Adam Page. I mean, Adam Page versus Swerve. Is that a Wembley main event? I think so. I think that's a big time match, right? So, Andrew, I would throw this question out. If you find out that it's Swerve versus Hangman for the title at Wembley Stadium, are you okay with them going with this match now? Because like that's your comparison. So that's the analysis on the match that I have. The question is, who's going to win? Who's going to win this thing? And I don't think they did enough to make you feel like this is a crowning moment for Will Ospreay. And I don't think that's an accident. Like, you didn't get that babyface go home promo from Ospreay. Why? Because maybe he's just not going to win. Maybe it's just not time for him to win. Maybe they think that they want to put Ospreay on a bit of a journey before he wins the world title. So they want to tell that story. So they're not going to give it all away in one promo. I think when you take that piece, right, and then you take the piece of Don Callis last week Will Ospreay talking about Don Callis, Swerve Strickland talking about Don Callis, and then Ospreay basically dismissing his involvement in the Don Callis family, right? That to me is a red flag that Ospreay's not winning this match, that he's not walking out a Forbidden Door as champion. Those two things together, the fact that you didn't hear from him much, and the fact that You teased Don Callis's involvement in this. I think that points to a Swerve Strickland victory. And so that's my expectation. I'm going with Swerve. I'm going with Swerve. Who are you picking? Let me know in the chat. We've got Andrew here that says, hey, no way Swerve leaves New York with that title. MJF and Ospreay is writing on the wall. Could be. Does it need the title? I don't know, Andrew. Does it need the championship? That's the question. That's the question, right? Anyway, I'm taking Swerve for that reason. And it's not because Ospreay is a bad talent. It's not because he's not over. It's not, none of that. I just think that they've got other plans for Ospreay at Wembley. They've got other plans for Swerve at Wembley. And they want to tell a story of Ospreay, climbing the ranks back to a world title match. Maybe it's next year at Wembley Stadium. Maybe they take the really slow burn approach with this, like Cody Rhodes, at WrestleMania, and they let him just fight, and you get back to that match next year with him in that spot. And you can put a true heel champion, in the champion's role, and really have Ospreay chase a heel, into that big event and have this big crowning moment. Then it takes time to build those things. I think that's what they're working on here with Will Ospreay. Okay, some other matches on the show. We've got 0 Hour, which will be Chris Statlander and Momo Wanatambi, versus Willow Nightingale and Tom Nakano. We've got a women's Owen Hart Cup quarterfinal match, Mariah May versus Saraya. We also have the Lucha Bros versus Mystico and Los Ingobernables de Japón, Hiromu Takahashi, Yota Tsuji, and Titan. Okay, so that's 0 Hour. As far as the rest of the main card goes, we talked about the AEW World Championship match. We also have an IWGP World Heavyweight Championship match. Jon Moxley defending the IWGP World title against Tetsuya Naito. I'm taking Naito here. Okay? This is a match that I think that Tony Khan just kind of checked the box on. It was like, all right, we got this match on the show. We did a couple stare downs. Naito hasn't been around. Okay, we did enough. We did all we could. Not so sure. Why not tell the story of Jon Moxley in New Japan? And he's the IWGP champion. Talk about that. Have him cut a promo. He's one of your best mic guys. He didn't cut a promo on the Go Home show. What are we doing with that? That's money left on the table. I think it's going to be an interesting match. I every time Naito steps in the ring, I question. I'm like, oh man, he's really lost a step. He's lost 2 steps. He's really, on thin ice as far as that goes. But I think with Jon Moxley and Moxley's style, that's very brawling in nature. I think you're going to see a fight here, and I think you'll see Naito keep up. It's time for the title to go back into the hands of somebody that's actually in New Japan. Naito did the job to Jon Moxley earlier in the year. I think Jon Moxley repays and does the favor here. I think Naito wins ahead of the G1 starting and just kind of realigns the top of that roster and the top of that company. Okay, we also have a TNT Championship ladder match. To crown a new TNT champion. The title is vacant. It's Konosuke Takeshita versus Mark Briscoe versus Jack Perry versus Leo Rush versus Dante Martin versus TBD. They're going to reveal that winner on Collision. It is out there. There are spoilers. If you want to read that, we're not going to spoil it right here, but it is out there already. This match is another one where I look at this and I'm like, you had a Go Home Dynamite, and none of these guys talked about winning this match. None of them talked about being TNT champion. Where was Jack Perry? If he's going to be the winner out of this, you gotta put him on television, have him cut a promo, something. I know Mark Briscoe was cutting a promo, but he didn't bring up this match at all or what being TNT championship would mean. So again, money left on the table here as far as the impact of this match goes. I'm taking Jack Perry. There's just nobody else outside of Takeshita in this match that can reasonably be the AEW TNT champion. And frankly, that would get the most out of it, but also give the most to that title. Jack Perry is the main guy for that. Leo Rush, he's not really a part of the AEW canon. Dante Martin, he's nowhere close to that level. Mark Briscoe, I think you could get him to that point. I think he's an over enough act where you can get him into that position, but he's not there right now. Takeshita is the only other guy, but for some reason, you just haven't seen Tony Khan hit go on a push for him. And and based on what we've seen throughout this build, I don't think that he's that guy now either. So Andrew says here, they've mishandled Takeshita. There's so much potential there. There really is. And he's going to be in the G1 this year in New Japan. That will be appointment viewing. I mean, really, like if you're an in-ring person and you're just like, hey, I love in-ring. That's what I care about most. That's what I want. You're not going to want to miss Takeshita in the ring in the G1. But yeah, the push has been mishandled in AEW. He's done job after job after job after job and loss after loss after loss. And eventually, the bloom's off the rose. So, and I think that's where they're at. Andrew also agrees that it makes perfect sense to put Perry over. Yeah, I'm right there with you. All right, we got Mercedes Moné versus Stephanie Vaquer for the TBS Championship and the New Japan Strong Women's Championship. I've liked what they've done with the video packages here. Vaquer has not been available to AEW much on television, but they've tried hard to present Vaquer as a international superstar that Mercedes Moné is going to try to dethrone. And I think that's come across well in their in those videos and in the hype. And so thumbs up to this. I'm excited for this match. I think this could be a sneaky match of the night candidate for the show. And I think Mercedes Moné takes it. Like her gimmick is like women's belt collector, right? I mean, she's trying to be an international phenomenon for women's wrestling, and that's her gimmick. And that I think is like having titles and having different championships and beating women from different companies all around the world, I think is pivotal. It's central to that act, and if done right. And I think to do that, she's got to win this match, and I definitely think that she will. AEW Women's World Championship is on the line. Toni Storm versus Mina Shirakawa. This story is the best booked Forbidden Door story that AEW has had. Period. Now, you may not like the story. There's parts of it that I don't like. There's parts of it that I'm like, is this really how you want to present your women's division? But they do get an A for trying to tell a story over a multiple month period, so that it's not just random Forbidden Door match, but it's a Forbidden Door match with Forbidden Door talent from different companies that's rooted in narrative, that's rooted in a story, and they have one here. Toni Storm's going to win this match. I mean, I think Mina Shirakawa is a great talent. I really do. I think she should be a priority signing for AEW, but she's not in AEW right now. She's not winning the AEW World Championship. That is going to go to Toni Storm, and I think eventually we're building to Mariah May versus Toni Storm here. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Orange Cassidy. I'm going to take Orange Cassidy here only because of the politics involved. I don't know, and I don't think Tony Khan's going to want two of his top talents doing jobs to New Japan talents on this show. And I've already got Tetsuya Naito beating Jon Moxley. So I'm going to say that Orange Cassidy gets a quick 3 count, on a roll up or something over Zack Sabre Jr. here. I'm looking forward to the match. I'm looking forward to seeing Cassidy play into Zack Sabre Jr.'s style. I'm looking forward to seeing Zack Sabre Jr. do the Orange Cassidy shtick. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think this is a fine match. It's also a match that doesn't need to be on the show. Like, this is a match that you can cut if you were really trying to cut this thing down. And as we go through here, the final minutes of this show, a lot of these matches I think fall into that category. Like this one, MJF versus Hechicero. MJF buried this during his promo. Pretty much buried Hechicero. So that tells you all you need to know. MJF's winning this one. Owen Hart Cup Tournament first round match. We got Bryan Danielson against Shingo Takagi. Dream match alert, folks. There's no reason to think that this match isn't going to be absolutely insanely awesome. I'm looking forward to this one. It's another match of the night candidate, and I fully expect Bryan Danielson to win. This is about the tournament. This is about Danielson trying to get the big win that he has talked about in promos the last few weeks. He cut a promo on Twitter that needed to be on the show. Come on, AEW. You got to get that good shoulder content on your show where the most people are going to see it. It was a shame to not see that on Dynamite. It's a great promo. I have it up on my Twitter feed right now at Zack_Heydorn. Head over there, follow me. It's there. It's a great promo if you missed it. But Danielson's going to win this one. And finally, we've got the Elite versus Kazuchika Okada, the Elite, Kazuchika Okada and the Young Bucks against the Acclaim and Hiroshi Tanahashi. Folks, this match exists so that you can have Okada on one side and Tanahashi on the other side and them face off and have a little bit of a wrestling match in the ring on American soil. Like, I think Tony Khan wants to check that off his bucket list. That's why this match is happening. I think the Elite win here. I think they pin Tanahashi. I think Tanahashi does the job again. And yeah, so that's where we're at. That's the show. It's a long one. But I think it should be a good one too, and anchored by what should be a stellar main event, like we talked about. We'll talk about the outcomes, and we'll talk about a show review Monday right here on 1TS Daily. Monday, 11 Eastern, right here on the One True Sport YouTube channel. Don't miss it. Be here. You're going to want to check out all of our thoughts and give your thoughts on Forbidden Door and what it meant to you and what you thought of it, and where AEW is going to go coming out of that show. That's Monday. We'll review Forbidden Door right here on 1TS Daily. All right. Tonight is also SmackDown. Don't forget, it is Friday after all. So SmackDown is tonight. It's in MSG. So pretty big show from that perspective. What WWE is promoting as of right now is a Bloodline acknowledgement ceremony. Logan Paul versus LA Knight versus Santos Escobar, a triple threat qualifier for the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Also a women's qualifier, Jade Cargill versus Tiffany Stratton versus Candice LeRae. Another women's qualifier, Naomi versus Blair Davenport versus Indy Hartwell. That is the SmackDown lineup. Should be a pretty interesting show, especially after what happened last week with Jacob Fatu showing up and the new bloodline growing exponentially. As far as nuggets go for Friday, June 28th, our 1TS Daily Nuggets, Hulk Hogan in the news again, for better or worse. He says that Braun Breaker can be the new Steve Austin. What do we think? Can he? Let me know in the comments. I want to know, do you think Braun Breaker has Stone Cold potential? I don't know that anybody has that type of potential, or it's fair to saddle somebody with that type of expectation. But needless to say, he's started off well on the main roster. I mean, there's no doubt about that. So I think you can't deny that he's had an impact, and he's made an impact. He's made an impact so far. So there's that. Also, WWE announced a Manchester City merchandise collaboration. So how interesting is that? So they're now collaborating with one of the biggest and most successful, soccer clubs in the English Premier League on custom merch. They've already got custom championships. Now there's custom merch. They are a licensing machine. And you got to assume that if it's happening here, the NFL is going to come calling, Major League Baseball is going to come calling, other sports leagues are going to come calling. I can't wait for an F1 WWE collaboration, that Lewis Hamilton is walking around with. But that's the latest in WWE business. Guys, thank you so much for being here. Really fun show. Glad we got to take the time to preview Forbidden Door. I will be covering it all weekend long over at Brass Ring Media. Check us out there. Follow us on YouTube. And subscribe to our channel on YouTube. And also follow me on Twitter at Zack_Heydorn. While you're doing that, head over to OneTrueSport.com. Check out our membership options and pick yours. Pick the one that fits you best. you're going to not want to miss some of the great content we have as we continue to grow this thing. So head there now, onetruesport.com. Subscribe to our channel here. Like this video if you can. It really helps us out. Helps us out in the algorithm. You know, everyone loves to say algorithm, but it does help. It's silly. It really is, admittedly. But I hope you liked the video enough to just click like. It's real simple. Just go here, and click, and that's all you need to do. But I thank you in advance. Thanks to everybody who joined us in the chat. Thank you, Liam. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, everybody who joined on YouTube and Twitter. Appreciate you. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy Forbidden Door, and I will talk to you again right here, 11 Eastern, with 1TS Daily on Monday. Thanks all. Talk to you soon. See ya.